Do political debates still matter? That's a question some are asking this afternoon as VP Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump will be taking center stage tonight at the National Constitution Center in Philly for their first and perhaps at this point in the campaign, maybe only debate.
Right now, we are joined by Connor Dowling, a political science professor at the University at Buffalo. Connor, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So here we are, the year 2024. How significant are presidential debates?
They are maybe not as significant as they used to be, but they still hold quite a bit of significance. I mean, I think we could maybe ask President Biden if debates still matter, and that's a resounding yes. And I think that's some of what has changed. That debates maybe don't matter as much in the everybody's watching and taking it all in as what the sort of elites and the party operatives and all of them do after the fact, and the media spin afterward, and how the candidates themselves might change strategies post-debate, especially as you said in the open there, if this is the only one between the two, and that's still maybe being negotiated behind the scenes, but if it's the only one, then it's really their last shot to get in any attacks on each other or on each other's policies, and then it's all left to the ground game and airwaves after that.
How big of a role, knowing that we are in, as you said, 2024, social media bigger than ever and continues to grow day after day, week after week, month after month, how big is that factor when we're talking about debates? Because when we're talking about some of the most historical debates of all time, social media was not necessarily a factor. Boy, now it is.
It certainly is, that's for sure. And I think one way in which social media changes things is, we see candidates perhaps looking for that soundbite that they can get in, that they can turn into part of an advertisement or that will be aired on the news later and the next day. And so, I expect to see kind of some one-liners that, from both Trump and Harris that they think will be something that'll last in voters' minds, even if they're not watching the debate live or even watching the whole thing the next day.
And when you mentioned watching, actually physically watching the debate, and you especially mentioned, social media sound bites, right? Realistically, how many voters do you think are sitting down tuning in? How many voters do you think could be swayed by a debate performance?
It's hard to say how many, I guess, but I think there's, especially if this is the only debate, I expect viewership to be probably a bit higher than it would have been if this is one of many, especially since for many voters, it's the first time to see Vice President Harris in a debate against Donald Trump. And so I would expect it maybe to be a little bit higher than they have been in maybe the last election cycle. That said, I think most voters, right, still a majority are getting, their debate information after the fact, right? And whether any of them are swayed, I think one factor that might make it more likely that people could be persuaded now is that it's a fairly early debate, right? Early September still. It's exactly 8 weeks until Election Day, and so that's early, and there's more voters that maybe have not made up their mind compared to if this was the first week of October, as some of them have been scheduled in the past.
Do you think it shows in terms of what the audience is consuming? Because I agree with you. I think if this is really the only one, if it's billed that way, and it certainly has up to this point, tens of millions are going to tune in, and tens of millions tuned in the last time when we watched President Biden. I think the other thing, though, is what are people supposed to be taking away from this? Do they tune in for substance? Or do they tune in to see if one makes a gaffe, if one is able to maybe put down another or insult another? Do you want to see your candidate win, and do you want to hear from your candidate? Or do you want to see your candidate beat the other person?
That's a good question. Certainly, as a political science professor, I kind of hope people are tuning in for substance, but I think the reality is a lot of people are tuning in for maybe a little bit of both, and maybe it's a little more skewed towards the gaffe or
what do you think that says about our electorate? Because I asked the question.
It says a couple of things. One is that we are in an era in which people are very attached to their own side, more so than in recent history, but not more so in the historical record. But we kind of have to go pre-Civil War to get this level of attachment to sides in some ways from a historical perspective. And so it says that people are very attached, but also that perhaps they're not quite sure about their own candidate too. For some people, right, and that they want to see that final blow in a sense, right, and they want to maybe they want to see that happen or see that happen live or maybe not, but they both are attached, but also want to see the other person fail a little bit, I guess. What that says about the electorate is, I guess, like people in general, we sometimes get some enjoyment out of seeing other people fail, especially someone we don't like. And politics is no different, and maybe politics is special in that case, in the sense that if the stakes are so high, perhaps we like to see it a little more. I don't think that says that that's the best of us, but that probably is what it says.
Well, we're certainly going to have to wait and see how tonight goes. Connor, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your insight with us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Really insightful. Thanks, Connor.